Destin-Fort Walton Beach is a super unique example of what an Air Force base can look like with a mid-sized airport combined. Today, we're going to be evaluating the airport to check out how it operates, the infrastructure, amenities, and other cool components of the airport. I hope all of you are excited for this, and let's go ahead and get started, everybody. Welcome everybody to Destin-Fort Walton Beach Airport, also known as Elgin Air Force Base. Like I said, this airport is very unique in many ways, and we're going to talk about it, and there's so much to dive into. We don't have as many pictures because it's an Air Force base, so I'll kind of explain that as we go throughout, but nevertheless, we still have a bunch to take a look at today, so I hope all of you are excited for this. Let's go ahead and get started. So pretty much what happened was Elgin Air Force Base opened back in World War II sometime, I'm sure, and when that happened, you know, obviously it was for all the World War II purposes and other military functions that the airport served. Destin didn't really have a standout airport at the time when it was time to start working towards more jet age and, you know, more operations for passenger service. There is the Destin Executive Airport, but that was a pretty space limiting operation there. JSX flies there now, but that's about it, and GA traffic. So they were looking for a place to go, and they thought, since, you know, obviously the functions were much less than what they were in the past, they thought that Elgin Air Force Base would be able to function as a civilian operation as well. So that's exactly what they did. So they started flying jets in here with American, Delta, Southwest, United, and a couple other carriers, and over time the airport continued to innovate. But what really changed the game at this airport for commercial operations was Allegiant Air, as they identified Destin as a great target to attract leisure travelers to really boost the airport's footprint in, you know, the U.S. landscape. So that's exactly what they did. Allegiant Air came in about, I don't know, 10 years ago or so, 10 or 15 years ago. They experimented with a couple of different cities, and now before we know it, we have nearly 40 nonstop destinations here at Destin, which is just absolutely incredible. So Destin Airport has really opened to, you know, so many leisure travelers, and has been such an incredible opportunity for so many folks. So we'll talk about that throughout today's video, but that's your little backstory on how we have came to Elgin Air Force Base. So I'll briefly talk about the military components and what goes into that, and then we'll dive into the civilian operation, as it is quite fascinating. So here's an overview of the airport. As you can tell, it definitely looks like an Air Force Base. You have runway 12, the longest one. As you can tell, it's like, I don't know, 10,000 feet or so. It's a very long runway, so that's great to see. You also have runway 2 and 20, another very nice platform there for any aircraft taking off and landing. And then obviously you can see a couple defunct runways on there as well. So of course, with it being a base, you have so many different operations, and this airport's pretty challenging to plane spot at. There's not many great areas, so by default you're not going to see much spotting, but you can see two major base components. You have this area on the west side of the field here with a bunch of different aircraft housed at it, along with other operations, and then you have this whole side of the east, which is really the large community here with various, you know, you even got this underwater university of sorts, along with, you know, the airman attic. I don't know why I brought up that store out of all places, but case in point, you have a whole community over here and all on base. And then of course you have the passenger operation over here, which is pretty isolated, which would make sense, and pretty much planes just take off and land, and that's about it for the civilian aspect, and they don't really affiliate much with what's going on over here. However, there are a cool couple components to the airport, such as a catch wire on runway 12. You typically wouldn't see a civilian airliner go over those, or other pieces to the puzzle like that. But this airport's actively used. They're using it all the time for trading flights. When I was here, I actually saw an F-15, a couple other planes, so there's no doubt that they're actively using the airport. So here's what the terminal facility has looked like for a very long time. You can see the various parking lots along with the one pier piece, so kind of a similar concept to airports like Pensacola. You can see here we have about 10 gates or so, but about 5 years ago, when Allegiant begun really expanding and changing the game here at Destin, the city and them came to an agreement to build them a new concourse C, which I don't know why it's C, but it is a 5-gate facility to go on the west side of the current one. So there's not any great satellite imagery or any of that out there yet, which is crazy because it opened several years ago at this point. I think 2022 is when it opened. So you can see here that we have the facility, and this is a very accurate depiction here for the most part, besides the fact that there's still Allegiant planes here. Allegiant's moved all their operations to here, so you can see the main facility right here with obviously American, Delta, United, Southwest use this one. And then they were able to add this pier on as well, which has the 5 Allegiant gates where they park. No American doesn't park there, but apparently Get the Coast does, but credit to them for providing this really great illustration. But they do have a really great mock-up here. Now, I don't believe they have a parking garage. That must be a future plan, so that would be cool to see. And then this development over here is is that there? I don't even see where the building for that would be. So that might be new as well, because this is the parking lot that goes with this. So it must be this area right here that they want to put these buildings. So anyway, future plans going on here at Destin-Fort Walton Airport, and they're definitely making strides. But anyway, as you can tell, it's still a very cool facility with what they currently have, and it looks very nice. Now, pictures online are very limited, so I don't have many pictures of the Air Force operation or any of that. So it pretty much just dives into exactly what I was able to get. So here's what the front of the facility looks like. As you can tell, kind of basic, but there are some cool pieces to it. This overhang's a little fancy along with the other pieces. They also have this great overhang piece to get to Concourse C. It's really helpful for the elements that Florida can experience during any time of the year, so that's really smart. Now, here's the route map. So 37 nonstop destinations. It might be more or less at this point, because I know they added Flint, Michigan recently, so that's going to be another one. And also, what's the other one? That Avello, New Haven. So probably about 4 destinations at this point, but as you can tell, quite a wide array of services. So getting the non-Allegiant out of the way first, we have American to Dallas, Chicago, Washington, D.C., and Charlotte. We also have our flight on Silver to Orlando. That's a really cool one. Hope they add Fort Lauderdale soon. I think that would be nice. So just one interstate service, or intrastate service, that would be correct. And then we have our flight on United to Denver, Chicago, and George Bush. So that's really cool. And then Southwest does fly here. This must be an older route map, because I think Southwest maybe started in I thought they've been here, but maybe not. Maybe they started in 2021. I saw an advertisement about that. So I don't know why they're not on here anyway, but they do fly to a couple of cities. So anyway, quite a nice variety. As you see, Allegiant has completely changed the game at the airport, because otherwise this airport would be just another airport, but Destin is more than another airport with all these services. So I could go through each and every one of them, but as you can tell, all the way from as far west as Austin to as far east as New York City, Destin covers the whole landscape here with regards to this whole southeast or upper Midwest here. So you can see quite a few services. Now, it's pretty particular why you're not seeing more services in this northeast area and this upper Midwest area. First off, there's not much demand up here, so they're immediately not going to think of Destin. And here's the deal on this. So everybody that's here and here does not think that Destin's warm enough. They think that Miami and Orlando and Tampa are warm enough. So by default, you see cities like Sioux Falls have service to those 3 instead of Destin. Now, I still think that some airports here like MSP and whatnot would probably do well with a Destin service, but this is the market that you're targeting, because most people here I already kind of know what warm feels like, especially this group of about 10 cities over here. Here's mine right here in my example, but this group already kind of knows what heat feels like. Even this group right here kind of knows what heat feels like. So this is kind of your outside perimeter here, but plenty of demand, obviously, with some various pieces to the puzzle that contribute to this. Anyway, though, there's this group of cities right here, all these cities right here, all these mid-sized airports such as Shreveport, Tulsa, Oklahoma City, Wichita, Kansas City, XNA, Little Rock, Springfield, Kansas City, Omaha, DSM, St. Louis, Evansville, Peoria, Rockford, Indianapolis, Louisville, Memphis, Knoxville, Lexington, Cincinnati, Columbus, Detroit, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Huntington, Concord, Baltimore, and Newark. I actually went pretty quick. Think that Destin would be a great place to travel to, and that's exactly what they've done. You see some cities only with 2 weekly flights, like Shreveport on Mondays and Friday, and then you'll see places like Northwest Arkansas with 9 weekly flights. They had daily flights in summer of 2024, so that definitely shows you what kind of demand that this can have and how it catches on really quick with the locals. And then you see several operations with 3 weekly flights, such as Tulsa and Wichita and other cities, and then you even see some with 5. Oklahoma City's had 5 in the past, along with places like, I believe, St. Louis has as well. So it's been cool to see what they've been able to do with this operation. But again, it's just a complete game changer when you have a carrier like this. And it's great for the locals as well. Maybe somebody wants to go see what they have to offer in Omaha. Maybe somebody wants to go see what FedEx is about in Memphis. Maybe somebody wants to go see New York City for the first time. So it's great to provide these options for the locals as well. And it works both ways. But obviously the main function here is to get your leisure travelers from these leisure cities to Destin. So it definitely has made the difference and has really expanded the economy footprint here in the northwestern portion of the Florida Panhandle. It's also worth noting that this is a very seasonal operation. I will go ahead and list you off the airports that are year-round for Allegiant, which is like 8, and then the rest of them are seasonal. St. Louis, Cincinnati, XNA, Flint, Michigan will be a new one. That will be year-round. Las Vegas, which isn't on here, but it's supposed to go here. There's a couple that aren't here, and Newark. Otherwise, every other city on this map is seasonal. So this airport pretty much goes from, your typical mid-sized airport with just the normal airlines plus a couple of low-cost flights too in the summer. Allegiant, American, Allegiant, Delta. So it's definitely cool to see what this operation's turned into and what they've been able to capitalize on it. But yeah, as you can tell, it definitely makes the difference. Okay, here's what the inside the gates look like. Unfortunately, I don't have any pictures of the inside of the older facility besides this one, so this is all I was able to find because it's pretty limited. But as you can tell, TSA looks nice, and you have a couple of different restaurants and whatnot, so that's definitely helpful for all these folks. And you can tell the lines here can definitely get busy because Destin's a great place to go to the beach, and it's a really nice area. Here's what the departures and arrival board looks like, and once again, it's that same concept: Allegiant, American, Delta, Allegiant, Delta, American, Southwest American, Delta, Allegiant, American, Allegiant. So yeah, this is what a typical day in the summer looks like. This is towards the end of the peak season. They also have Sun Country service now too, I should mention, so that's really cool. But Southwest does fly here. They have that Nashville flight on the board and Baltimore, which is pretty cool. I didn't even realize that. So yeah, that's a heck of a service for sure. But you can definitely tell that there's a bunch going on here on this particular board with some of these cities here that we all mentioned. And there's a couple of new ones. Clarksburg, West Virginia's one for Allegiant, and a couple others that aren't on that route map, but that was a good example of, you know, what you're seeing. So cool to see all what we got going here in the operations, and great to see Destin promoting that quite well. Now here's what the new Allegiant facility looks like. It looks absolutely wonderful in my opinion. I think they did a really good job not breaking the bank, but also making it look nice and spacious. So you got basic chairs, that was definitely Allegiant influence, and then you got, you know, the basic ceiling concept, but it is nice and certainly gets the job done. Also other cool vendors like Dunkin' Donuts and others, so definitely helpful for all the passengers that are interested in such amenities. So that's exactly what we'd be going for there. Another nice shot to kind of see it from the portrait perspective looking down. It definitely looks really nice, as you can tell, with the various amenities and other pieces to the puzzle that they offer here. So that's really nice. I like these pillars as well. I think they're pretty cool. Here's what the baggage claim looks like. You can see a Southwest sign there, but once again, pretty basic, one story, not really too much to the story here besides it's pretty standard. So that's pretty cool. It's nice to see that. And then here's what an outside shot looks like. There's a Delta 737-900ER going to Atlanta. This is probably the most popular service out of Destin, I would assume. In fact, I can fact check it right now. Let's take a look. Yes, it is. 256,000 passengers a year annually over the last period. We do also have American number 2 to Dallas. That's really nice. And American to Charlotte's number 3, so it's really impressive. And then we start to get into some of the Allegiant routes. Nashville is also paired with Southwest. Cincinnati by itself, 55,000. That's a really high number. MSP, Allegiant, Delta, Sun Country, it says here on the wiki, which is cool. St. Louis, Allegiant, 44,000. Dallas, Love Field, Southwest, 43,000. Pretty impressive. Washington National, American, 34,000. And Baltimore on Allegiant and Southwest, 30,000. So they've definitely got their footprint. Allegiant does have the most market share despite it being such a seasonal operation. They come in at 28%. Delta's right there next to it with the mainline brand of 25%. American mainline, 23%. Southwest mainline, 19%. So it's definitely a very balanced market share here. There's not just one dominant carrier. Now it seems like Allegiant is, but obviously with how many destinations you have, it kind of evens it all out. But Delta, very big player, along with American and Southwest, really both making their presence known. American does fly a really healthy amount of mainline here. They haven't in the past. They are right there. So it all makes sense. But of course, they do have some other carriers like Envoy and whatnot as well. But a bunch of mainline here at Destin, which is really cool to think about. As you can tell, here's what the gates look like from the outside, and here's Allegiant. There's a bunch of huge cost savers in this operation. No jet bridges, super huge, and obviously keeping it all here, being able to do all your maintenance on Tuesdays. In the trip report on Allegiant, I really dived into Allegiant and why their operation is so successful. Check it out if you're interested. I really enjoyed making it. The security, they also went for a pretty good landscape here. As you can tell, it's never going to be busy, which is so nice, but it also is nice, modern, gets the job done. It looks like they have 4 screening pit checks here. I think they might have one more over here. So very impressive, and definitely looks quite nice. And don't have to get here crazy early, which is super nice. A nice shot down from the other side. You can see the vendors and whatnot. Looks a little bit more lively during the day, but they did a really good job. Very simple design, but definitely effective and gets the job done. There's no doubt about it. So that's really cool. Another really nice looking shot here down the line, and you can see they have actually paper. They don't even have monitors, or they do have, or do they have monitors? Okay, they do have one TV monitor, but makes it a little easier to see there with the paper. So yeah, they definitely try to make it as effective as possible. So it looks quite nice and enough room to stretch out. Obviously it's not congested, so that's really good. And here's C3 boarding up for Tulsa right here. And as you can tell, all these flights are full. All of them are making money, selling really good prices. And they will have a couple sales a year where you can take advantage of better prices. But for the most part, it's pretty standard, and Allegiant really makes their revenue. Here's a really nice shot here with some of the military aircraft highlighting that operation. These are probably the best ones we're going to see here. So they have access to them. I don't see them on Google, but anyway, you got Osprey and an F-22, 2 shots of F-22s that are really cool. F-35 rather, excuse me. So yeah, that looks really nice. So very cool to see that. And then there's just one for good measure, and it's cool that they have these boards. So that's quite nice. And there's what the airside boarding looks like. Destin's so nice. It's one of my favorite beach cities by far, just because of how convenient it is. And again, Allegiant changing the game here and providing so many opportunities for leisure travelers. I would love to see statistics. I might have to look into it of how the Destin economy has changed since Allegiance came into the... Here, let me just see if I can find an article on it real quick. I'm really curious now. How has the Destin economy changed since Allegiant Air started service? Let's see if we find any of it real quick. Yeah, I mean, here's one right here. Allegiant launches 15 nonstop seasonal destinations. Let's see. I just want to see real quick to see if there's any, information here that helps it out. Let's see. They're saying that they announced them. These are just, the seasonal redemptions. So, okay, now it's just talking about the news. But anyway, I'm sure it's changed the economy substantially because you're able to get so many new opportunities in here for Destin, which is super cool. So yeah, I'm definitely have to look into that, but I'm sure it's really helped out the market. There's no doubt about it. It can't be a negative. So very cool that they're providing so many opportunities to these passengers and that the numbers continue to go up. I probably could look at the year-to-date annual passenger count. I'm sure that would be a really big storyteller as of to... Oh, here we go. Here it is right here. Okay, yeah. This is really good. Okay, so in 2017, the airport was at 1.2 million, and then 2018, that's really when Destin started to thrive off Allegiant. 1.4 million, that's up 20%. 2019, 1.6 million, up another 20%. And then how about this, guys? In 2021, okay, 2020 it was just under a million, down 43%, but in 2021, it was nearly 2 million passengers, nearly 2 million. So consider the pandemic and all that. I mean, just super impressed that they were able to get that many people through. Obviously, less restriction on Florida, more people going there, all makes sense, and Allegiant just went all out. But still, 2 million passengers. So it's up 110% from 2020, but from 2019, that would be up 40, or I think like maybe 30%. I mean, that's just insane. And then in 2022, even off a little bit, it was up just 0.4% for a little over 2 million. And then in 2023, record-breaking year, 2.3 million passengers, so up 14%. So this airport in the last 5 years has doubled its size. That's an economic generator. So it's super exciting to think about, and I'm excited to see them continue to put through more capacity. I don't know if 5 gates was enough. I mean, you just keep pushing this, and let's think about when cities like Minot, North Dakota are going to have this service one day, or even like Sioux Falls, South Dakota, or when Tulsa's going to have it daily. XNA has it daily. I mean, it just goes to show what Allegiant's done for this airport and providing so much opportunity. It's doubled the size of the airport. That's also a testament to Delta Mainline and American and all that too, but Allegiant had a really huge footprint in making this a reality with all these destinations. And once again, it just has numbers on here from 2017. I'm not even going to go back and look at before that because it probably doesn't matter very much. But just in the last 5 years, pretty much the airport's doubled its size, which is incredible to think about, and no doubt has been a huge economic generator for the city of Destin and the surrounding areas. So it's quite an exciting time. I highly recommend this as a destination spot, even if you have to connect. There are some amazing places to go on that beach, man. It is so nice, and it is definitely one of my favorite places. I really hope to go back in 2025 if I can find an opportunity to during the summer. It is so much fun. It gave so many families opportunities to go, like mine, on this exact trip right here, and you can definitely see how it made the difference for so many people and what an incredible time it is. So great to see this. It is quite a vibe, and I really hope each and every one of you enjoyed this video, and Destin will continue to thrive for a long time to come. I hope to revisit it soon, maybe even do a model airport. I don't know, we'll see. So it'll be fun, but regardless, quite a fun operation. I really hope each and every one of you enjoyed today's video. With that being said, that'll do it for today's video, everybody. Thank you all so much for watching. I want to thank each and every one of you for watching. My name is Dreader of Aviation. Take it easy, everybody. Stay safe, trust the process. Do you love and love what you do? My name is Dreader of Aviation. I want to thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all soon as Dreader of Aviation is signing off.